Thank you, Beth. I'm joined by Hugh Campkin, again, running for the role of Student Activities Officer. Thank you for being here.
Hello. No, thank you for having me.
So, just very quickly, who are you? What have you done? And why are you running for Activities Officer?
So my name is Hugh Campkin. I'm fourth year now. I'm doing a master's in music production, and I've been I've been here for 4 years, and I've been in that time I've been heavily involved in lots of different extracurricular activities, from kind of running independent events to hosting UOI shows, and also I'm the former president of USNO, and throughout that I've had a lot of experience with the whole kind of activities and sort of sports and clubs scene, both from nightlife to anything else, pretty much, yeah.
And then I thought the first point that you make in your manifesto, the first two words you say is unite creativity. Is that just a slogan?
No, so that's so basically what I mean by that. I mean, it's kind of I wanted to just sort of sum it up, but essentially there's a lot of really, really talented and creative people throughout this entire university. I've met so many along the way, and the problem is a lot of them, they only meet through sort of circles and kind of networking and things, and whereas especially for someone who's just joined the university, has involved themselves in a society, say, I mean, it can be for anything. They want to host a live music event, or even just to get someone to make a banner for their Facebook page or something. I mean, it would just be good to have somewhere like a platform that people can just go and, I mean, whether it's paid work, free work, people can just upload their CVs, tell you what they want to do as a creative, and then people can go on there, find them, talk to people, and it's just a great way to bring not only individual people together, but also societies together and get societies working together.
And you talk about making York a cultural hub as well. What can UC's role in that be, and how do you, as Activities Officer, bring all the people on board from across the city that you need to do that?
So there's, with Mansion and Fibbers unfortunately closing recently, those are two of the kind of only sort of spaces in the town centre that allow people to run a lot of independent events and sort of cultural, so there's a lot of different types of, I mean, I know sort of some kind of events aren't everyone's cup of tea, like not everybody wants to go to a techno night, but also not everyone wants to go to a 60s night, I think. But the problem is there's not really, with these places dying, there's not really the freedom to actually have to run those events and things. So it'll be good to have the university as the center point for basically expressing that. We've got a lot of unused spaces on campus, such as the Roger Kirk Centre, that could really be utilized for things like, I mean, so in Freshers Week, it's used for getting live acts and stuff. And I've done some research, and they don't have breakfast there on, I think it's a Saturday. So, I mean, it means that you could have Friday nights, you could run an event there, and then so whether that's USU bringing in a live band, it's going to be financially beneficial. It's going to bring people into the university, even if it's not just for students. I mean, just bringing it and just giving York a good reputation for somewhere that you can go to for culture and arts.
I mean, that was a point that really stuck out to me in the manifesto when you mentioned the Roger Kirk Centre. One of my other things is I'm a secretary on the James College Committee, and we, as you say, we run a club night in there during Freshers Week.
Yeah.
The reason that we don't do that more regularly, the reason we couldn't do it in Refreshers Week, is because it costs literally thousands of pounds to convert every time you want to have a club night there. How can you reduce those costs to make a regular night at the RKC actually viable?
So, so this is one thing that has been pointed out to me, and one thing that I've been doing a lot of research into, is that basically, I mean, so a lot of that cost, especially things like staging, like hiring a stage, costs a lot of money. But the actual gear, as a long-term investment, if it was something that was going to be done over and over again, it could be something that could be invested in. And also looking to people within York to help fund that as well. I mean, so I've spoken to people from the Crescent and also Paul from Fibbers, and they are more than keen to basically get involved with running events on campus for students. And that could be something that it doesn't need to be all this money needs to come from USU. I mean, as long as it's because, well, as you know, USU's not for profit, just for students. So it just if we can get people to get involved and we can get that infrastructure there for these events to be ran, then it's something that could be done possible, be made possible. And the Vice Chancellor has expressed an interest in, over the next few years, building a new kind of building that has like performance spaces and event spaces and things, and hosting a union building within there. So this would be a good way to sort of get the ball rolling on that and show the university that it is something that's worth investing in, and it's something that students want.
And I want to stay on the theme of nightlife and talk a bit about York parties. It's come up in the last 2 interviews we've had.
Yes,
There's criticism that was levelled at them. You take a slightly different approach to many in your manifesto, because you say the anger at York parties was a case of poor communication between USU and students. Is all the criticism of York parties just about communication? Are there no flaws with York parties?
I think largely it's so there are definitely flaws, but a lot of the flaws that were being thrown around at the start of the year was a case of miscommunication. And once it was explained to me properly that it was just because, I mean, from the outside, York parties almost looks shady, because, I mean, there's absolutely no information on it. You can't find any information on it on their website. You don't know what they do. They don't know the terms of their contract and things. And so anyone thinking, what are York parties actually doing, wouldn't know. So why can't we just make this? I mean, obviously some of it's going to be commercially or financially sensitive, so that's fair. It can't be released. But I mean, just if people just had an idea of what they're doing. Also, going back to the flaws, there does need to be some more student involvement in York party. I mean, because York, so it's 4 nights a week, like that thousands of students go to, and like on a regular basis. But it's all just ran by one small group of people who nobody has any idea who they are. And so, I mean, we can work with Adam J, who is the owner of York parties, to get more students involved, whether it's like as DJs, organisers, event promoters and stuff. Because even if even if it's not for a kind of like financial role, it's something that, as you could almost get it working as a society, that people would be interested in, because it's something that can be used to build a get experience in events running and organisation, that you can then use those skills in later life.
There will be people listening who probably doubt the sort of openness of Adam J, who you named, to get students involved, to change from a model that has worked very well for him and his company. What makes you think that you can be different, that you can get students involved into York parties as a structure?
Well, I think that, and I've seen that there has been, I mean, with Ollie's events forums, which have been really successful, there have been, one of them was very, very heated, and a lot of that was targeted at York parties. And it should, so I think that they are now understanding that they have got to be a part of the university, as well as just, rather than just an external promoter or events organizer. So it will be more of a kind of like a negotiation to get. So I mean, because unfortunately York parties aren't going to want to do it unless they're getting something out of it. So I think it'd be good to put pressure on them to actually get more students involved and make them part of the university. And it should be pressure enough to just explain to them that we just don't want something like this to happen again. We don't want that heat to go back onto them, because it's I mean, if it's all just being misguided, and to do that, there actually needs to be some kind of student involvement.
And I want to move on to one more thing to say, which is, as your activities officer, I aim to make more information regarding the inner workings of USU more accessible. It's in the context of your parties, but as a general point, what can you do to increase transparency, which comes up every time in these USU elections? Yes,
exactly. Yeah, so that's one thing. It's always said, but I mean, it just basically needs to be, USU needs to take responsibility for the thing. So it's, rather than, if something goes wrong, everybody knows that people make mistakes. And if I think it would, people would be a lot more understanding if something does go wrong, USU say, I'm sorry, this happened, it was our fault, this is what we're going to do to fix it, and working with students to actually get them to work together and basically work with USU so that this information is transparent. And it's, yeah.
The response to the letter for colleges was, one of the people that signed it was USU's CEO. I can name every other CEO of every other charity in the country if I want to, but USU's rules stop me from naming that person on the radio. Should I be allowed to?
I think you should be. It's because that becomes, because it's a sort of, that becomes like a thing of like commercial, like it becomes almost like a commercial thing, which USU is not meant to be a commercial. It's meant to be a union. It's meant to bring like students together. It's meant to be us working together, and not the board that are basically essentially determining what can and can't be said.
Thank you, Hugh. We have to go over to our final candidate for the role, but thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
All right, we're over in studio